Happy Monday. We have 23 days left of 2019. And you know, we're kind of in this mode. I feel like this time, well, first of all, I love the holidays. And I'm super excited about this holiday because for the first time in many years, I think 5 or 6 years, our whole all of our kids, grandbabies, our immediate family is going to be together. And I am in super Mother Mary Monday mode. Yeah, I'm just excited. Anyway, I've heard a lot of people talking about this and people that I follow, and it kind of spurred it in me. At the end of last week's podcast, I talked about goal setting, and I know sometimes that can be really kind of intimidating a bit, but it shouldn't be. How do you eat an elephant? A bite at a time. So I love having my life in order to the degree that it can be a tangible thing. Knowing that it's going to be changing every day and we're always up for an adventure. I would say we're pretty spontaneous people, but it's also good just to have some core things. So in these last 23 days that I know can be a little bit hectic because of the holiday season, it can also be a really lovely time to start to set your intention for 2020. I love that it's 2020. I love that it's not only a new year, but it's a new decade. I've learned to love time in little increments. I'm the schedule maker for us, for the most part. I'm a Virgo, and I like things to be written out. Jeffy teases me because I like to have a physical planner, and he is more of a guy who wants his calendar on the computer, which I do that too, but I love the touchy-feeliness of this. And I also like to be able to write myself notes and really set my intention. And every year I start with a word. I don't know what my word is yet for next year, but I'm going to share with you what my words were for this year. And in the past week, I've had some pretty awesome conversations. And one of the observations that was made about me from a good friend who we've been friends for decades, she was like, Mary, you seem like you're in a really solid place. And that has nothing to do with circumstance or things that are outside of me, or in your case of you. But I've learned this year, I've never been so intentional with my time in the morning, with trying to really seek God and hear what He has to say to me, and to also lay aside as much as I can anything that was an encumbrance, anything that was keeping me stuck. So a lot of forgiveness and freedom, and it feels really good. It feels really good. One of the things that I like too, I was talking to Jeff about this literally this morning, was I've seen this company. I don't know if the name of the company is the next 90 days, or if they only do planners that are the next 90 days, but it's literally the concept of next 90 days. I think that is our year is in quarters, and it makes sense, obviously, logistically, that looking at things in a quarter or 3 month chunks, or I love the concept of the next 90 days. So today I just want to look at what you can do in the next 23 days to mentally kind of open up, and then set your intention in 2020 and just focus on the first 90 days. Like, don't have it be this burden of you have to have it all figured out. And I won't at the beginning of every year kind of lay out, we know here's when Fashion Week is, we know these are the months that we travel a little bit more scouting wise. We also have new goals and new intentions and new purposes. So we're intentionally adding in some different things that we haven't planned in advance for, which over time I'll be sharing with you. But it is nice to take things in little chunks and not be overwhelmed. So in 2019, here's a planner that I found. I actually got myself this planner, excuse me, and for both of my daughters, Tiana and Olivia. They are both calendar keepers like me. I think it's because, you know, you grow up with it and it becomes, so we have matching planners. My planner's big for anybody who's been around. I used to have the giant Franklin planner that was the size of like a giant 3-ring binder. And that literally was my planner, like in the 90s. I'd walk around like this with my planner. And I would always only use the Flair pens that I still use. But anyway, Tiana and Olivia, I think, have the smaller version of this. But anyway, this was my planner for this year. It's called Commit 30. And what I like about it, I like to have a planner that has, where I can look at the entire month at one time. I like to be able to have a large space that I can write out my daily stuff. And I also like that there's lots of room for me to write notes and scribble and do my little things. So this was my planner for last year, and I haven't decided. I think I'm going to get it again next year because it was really good. So I have 2 words that were my intention for 2019. Now at the end of 2019, I can look and go, wow, those words came to pass. And I believe it's because I set my intention at the beginning of the year, then I carved out time every day, or as much as possible every day, to keep that intention focused. And then I'm going to share a few other things that I have been really instrumental for me for this year and super helpful, and they may be helpful for you too. So I couldn't decide on only one word in 2019, and you know, if I'm setting the rules for my year, I can choose 2 words. So I have 2. The first word was birth, and for obvious reasons. The great thing is we had 2 new grandbabies in 2019, in February and March. And then we had, a year previous to that, a new grandbaby who was also born in February, and Willa Mae, who was also born in February. So I was like, okay, this is the year of birthing. But it was also birthing new thoughts, new goals, new visions, one of which just took place at Tribute, where we had our big show, which was awesome and wonderful. But then the next day we had an event, and it was, I knew, you know, don't do some grand, big, giant, but do something that you can test and see how this would work. And it exceeded all expectations, and I'm thankful that we birthed that. I love words, as you know, if you listen at all, and I also love really reading what the word means. So birth as a noun is an act or an instance of being born, the act or process of bearing or bringing forth. Any coming into an existence, origin, beginning to give birth to. I was like, yes, I love that word. My second word was breakthrough, and this has been a year of breakthrough for me. Personally, spiritually, I've learned how to surrender. I've learned how to let things go. I've learned to allow my children to grow in the way that they need to grow. And the best thing that I can do as their parent, of course, is to guide them and have conversations and of course all of that. But really the best thing I can do is pray for them every day. And I have this prayer that I have been praying for many years over my children and over our grandchildren and our children's spouses, and at our 20th wedding anniversary, we had a dinner, and then afterwards, I went to take the prayer to read it to the kids so they could know the prayer that I pray over them. and I literally could not keep it together. So Tiana had to read it for me, but because it's powerful. So breakthrough, an act or instance of removing or surpassing an obstruction or restriction, the overcoming of a stalemate. Any significant or sudden advance, development, achievement, or increase, an advance all the way through. I am telling you, I have experienced breakthrough this year. Ooh, and it is so wonderful to just take ownership in your own life and love people for where they're at and take one day at a time. It's a beautiful thing. So back to this. Finding a word is a really great thing. And then I have little notes that I've written to myself. I love this from Judah Smith. He's somebody that I really look up to, and I love to hear his teachings. Do not throw away your confidence, which has a great reward. You're going to need endurance so that when you have done the will of God, you'll be able to live the life that God has designed for you, which is part of, it's the Word of God. It's powerful. I just know that for everybody that's taking the time to listen to this, there's so many great plans and purposes for your life. Last night I watched Miss Universe pageant. Jeff went with one of our sons, Cameron, which was great. They had a great evening together, and I sat for, it was a long show. It's like 3.5 hours, but it was so good. And Miss South Africa won, and her words were so powerful, and you could just tell this woman is a force, and that it's not just her physical beauty, although obviously she's physically beautiful, the beauty of her intention, of her clarity, of her sense of purpose. When you find that, it's so beautiful. And guess what, guys? You have to pursue it. So as you take these 23 days, allow yourself to start thinking about what is the deep thing in your heart, and is there a word that resonates with you? And I also believe in the importance of writing things down. Writing it down gives clarity to it. If I took the time, I could read you so much that's in this planner that's made a giant difference in my life. I read a lot of Mark Batterson books, and I did this. I started this last year, I believe, and then revisited it, or maybe I just started it. This was a 40-day, is this a 40-day journal? Yes, day 40. This is how I started taking my time in the morning. I literally would get up. There's a little tiny, easy, very easy thing to read, and then 3 pages to just write out what I learned from that, or how I could apply this wisdom into what I was facing on that day. And when I got done with it, it had such an impact on me. I went back and I did it again. And this book is so valuable to me. When we were traveling for a minute, I thought I lost it and I about had a panic attack, because the words that we speak over our own lives and the things that we can teach ourselves are really wonderful. So I love Bob Goff. I got this for next year. It's a 365-day journal. It's called Live in Grace and Walk in Love. And every day it's a reading. And sometimes if you've not been in the habit of taking the time to do something like that, something like this makes it easy to get in the habit of it. You can travel with it. You can just take a little extra time in the morning. I know sometimes we think, oh, but I want to get as much sleep as I possibly can. But when you wake up and set your intention for the day, or fill yourself with something encouraging and positive and life-lifting, you'll be amazed at what a difference it makes as the day unfolds and things just happen. I'm running out of time, so here's my thing. You have 23 days left of this year. Allow a little extra time for you in those 23 days. And then when you're thinking about 2020, literally allow yourself to think of it in the next 90 days, in those little chunks, because every day is new. Every day is a new fresh start, and that's the beauty of life. And every Monday is a great Monday because of Mother Mary Monday. I'm kind of delirious. Jeffy's really tired too, and he's behind me looking like, can you just wrap this? So thank you guys for always listening. I hope you have a beautiful festive week, and I'll talk to you next Monday.